In this video, we are going to talk about top 10 ways to deal with a toxic boss. So before starting this video, please like this video and subscribe to this channel for our future updates. You might not know where to turn when dealing with a difficult boss. There isn't a simple solution to the problem, especially if you want to avoid negative consequences. It can be difficult to express your concerns to a manager with whom you're having trouble or to share those concerns with others, but it's often necessary if you want to improve your workplace dynamic. Let's start. Number 1. Avoid responding in kind. If your boss acts irrationally, becomes abusive, or becomes agitated, your first reaction may be to react in kind. Defeat that temptation, no matter how difficult it may be. Replacing evil with evil achieves nothing and only exacerbates the problem. Maintaining your professionalism will leave a favorable impression on those who are watching or hearing about it, including your boss's boss. Here's an extreme case study that is based on a true story. Let's say you've just sat down with your boss at a restaurant, and he's irritated because there aren't any menus. Rather than becoming agitated because the boss is blaming you for the lack of menus, keep your cool and simply say, "Boss, the menus are on their way." Repeat as many times as needed. Number 2. Document your work. If you have 2 minutes to spare, take a look at how Privilege Manager can help you reduce the risk of unneeded users having local admin rights while maintaining productivity. Privilege Manager is available for a free trial period of 30 days. Manage privileges for tens of thousands of people. Keep track of your accomplishments as well as any compliments you receive from coworkers or department managers. Keep track of when these occurrences occurred. When documenting these accomplishments, try to include the significance of the accomplishment as well. At the time, what issue was there? What would have happened if you had not taken action? What positive impact did your action have on the organization as a whole? Keep this information on a system other than your work computer or the company network, so that you can access it even if you leave or are fired. Number 3. Use objective measures. Make an effort to use objective measurements when documenting your achievements. "I resolved that ticket promptly," for example, is a meaningless statement if you work at a help desk. "I resolved that ticket in 3 hours," versus the departmental average of 5 hours, on the other hand, has more credibility. A statement like, "I answered 80% of my calls within the second ring," is preferable to, "I answered my calls promptly," if you work in a call center. Number 4. Confront with evidence. It's easy for a boss to yell at you based on your own statements. When you present the boss with detailed data, particularly data with objective measures, it becomes more difficult. So, if your boss complains that you aren't returning calls quickly enough, share your information. "Boss, you can be angry all you want, but the data favors my position," you're telling the boss implicitly, or, if you're brave enough, explicitly. Number 5. Be clear about performance measurements. When it comes to determining your performance metrics, objective measurements are also crucial. It's easier for your boss to give you a low rating if you have subjective standards. Having objective standards makes it more difficult for the boss to meet them, assuming you're doing your job and meeting them. Number 6. Keep your network active. Maintain your relationships with others in your organization, as well as those outside of it. Maintain contact with your high school or college's alumni. Participate in the affairs of your community. This keeps you visible and may assist you in finding a new job if you decide you need to or are forced to part ways with your boss. Number 7. Don't burn bridges. Given that you have nothing left to lose if you part ways with your boss, you may be tempted to unload. Resist the urge to be ungrateful and instead strive to be gracious. Is there anything useful you learned from the boss? Was there ever a time when you thought your boss was wrong but later discovered that he or she was correct? Let it be known. Even a bad boss would find it difficult to react negatively to such statements from you, though it is not impossible. Being gracious will leave a lasting impression on those around you. After all, you never know when you'll cross paths with that boss again later in your career. Number 8. Learn from the experience. Murphy's Law has a corollary, which states that there is no such thing as a pointless activity. It can be used as a bad example at any time. Take some time to consider why your boss is such a bad boss in your case. Just keep in mind that everyone has a different point of view. Your boss could be responding to factors and influences that you aren't aware of. While this fact does not excuse bad behavior, it does provide some context. In any case, conducting such an analysis will benefit you if you later become a manager because you will have learned what not to do. Number 9. Use humor to cope. Humor is an excellent way to cope with unpleasant situations, which is why comic relief is frequently used after tense scenes in films and television shows. Rather than being upset about something that happened in the past, try laughing about it. It's even possible to go a step further with it. You could, for example, predict what area the boss will be most upset about tomorrow or what time the boss will be most upset that day, and then compare your prediction to what actually occurs. While it may be politically risky, you could start an office pool with coworkers who are experiencing the same problems, such as a wager on how many times the boss blows up. Number 10. Be careful when talking to the boss's boss. If you slander a servant in front of his master, he will curse you, and you will suffer the consequences. You might get a chance to meet with your boss's boss one-on-one. If that is the case, that individual may inquire about your boss. Be cautious about what you say. Be aware that criticism of your boss could be misinterpreted as criticism of your boss's boss, causing you even more problems. Keep in mind the old proverb, do not pass judgment on your wife's decision. Take a look at who she married. If you must say anything about your boss, make it about his or her behavior rather than the person. It's probably better to say, it's hard to focus when priorities keep changing, rather than, boss is really disorganized, if you must say anything at all. However, encouraging any desirable behavior from your boss is a far safer alternative. You might say, for example, the boss's practice of doing is extremely beneficial to us. I sincerely hope she continues to do so. What do you think about our list? Do you want to share any personal tips? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video and want to hear from me again, be sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications before you go. Thanks for watching.